Good evening and welcome to the first broadcast of EBC. Tonight we have a man who has done more for wildlife documentaries than Mary Poppins did for the Umbrella, and the WEO has done for the main broadcast system. Good evening, David.
Good evening to you.
David, before we start the actual interview, we want to find out more of your background, etc. Did you come from a family of show business, academic or nature lovers?
Academic.
You came from academic. Could you quick for us on that?
Well, my father ran a university, or a small university in Leicester. And we grew up on the university campus, but most of my family are teachers. He was a teacher, my mother was a teacher, my grandfather was the headmaster of the school and so on.
I see. I presume you trained as a biologist, botanist, or
Yes, I grew up in Leicester, where there were some very interesting things around. I mean, there were very interesting fossils, there were very interesting birds and one thing or another. And I was interested in those things, and then I took a degree in zoology, zoology and geology, in fact.
When you once served in the Royal Navy, when was this? What ship did you serve in? And have you any sea stories to exchange?
Sea stories?
Yes.
I don't know about sea stories because we didn't get to see all that much, but in fact I went into the Navy in 1947. It seems a long time ago.
That was about the same time as adjustment sort of.
Well, 47 to I was in about 2.5 to 3 years as a conscript, and because I had a science degree, found myself teaching meteorology and navigation, which was fairly frightening. Frightening for me because I couldn't navigate anything really. But
similar to Bill then?
Yeah, well, I don't know who Bill may be, or I don't know whether you should be rude about
it. I shouldn't know, shouldn't
Bill.
Good. Yes,
certainly not. But no, I then went on air stations for a bit, where I taught meteorology and did my little best to try and pretend that I knew what the weather was going to do. And then I went up to the reserve fleet in Rosyth. When I served, it wasn't all that reserve. I started on the Perseus, which was a light fleet carrier, which was in the process of trying to work out how to put seafires into the sky. And they tried to do it with a sort of catapult. And they would put a seafire and a catapult, and they'd fire the catapult, and the seafire would go over the edge of the aircraft carrier, and they'd all look down, and they'd say, "Oh, dear me, well, perhaps we could try another one." And we did that for a bit. And then I joined a ship which you may or may not know, I expect you will know of, called the Protector.
Protector? Old ships? No.
Yeah, well, they were. That's right.
You've been
Protector was at that time in the reserve fleet. She was moored by the side in Rosyth.
What year was it?
47?
47.
48? 48?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. And that was quite entertaining. I was, well, it's all very alarming really, my naval career, because you said everybody's sea stories. I didn't get to sea, you see. I was on one occasion, I'm ashamed to say, officer of the watch, which was a very unnerving occasion really. It was the first time I'd been officer of the watch, and I didn't know what it involved, and mind you, I suppose the risks weren't that great since the ship had tied up the side and wasn't moving anywhere. But I remember that very first night, chief petty officers kept coming up and saying permission to go ashore, and I didn't know what to say, so I said yes. And then the petty officers started coming up and saying permission to go ashore, and I said yes, because I couldn't think of what else to say. And then after about an hour and a half, it seemed to me we hadn't got a ship's company at all. Everybody was ashore. I didn't know why they were all going ashore. And then I noticed on the other side of South Queensland, on the other side of the Firth, there was a big red glow in the sky. I thought, well, perhaps if I was officer's watch, someone should tell me if it's of any importance. But it wasn't until about midnight that I discovered what it was, and it was actually, there were some big whiskey storage vats on the south side which had caught fire, and the entire ship's company of HMS Protector were on their hands and knees drinking burning whiskey as it ran down the gutters.
Oh, I shouldn't swear, did I swear then, did I? Is there anything else you would particularly like to do in television, like some more ambitions, etc., etc.?
No, I think I think there's an expression of getting a soft number, isn't it? Or a
good number.
A good number, or even a soft number. I reckon I've got a soft and good number, and I have had for a number of years. I mean, it seems to me I've got it with Tamar, really. I go to all the places that I would most dearly want to go and see all the interesting things I want to see. So why should I complain? It's been going on for a long time. I mean, I started I joined television in 1952, which also seems a long time ago, and I started taking filming expeditions and making films about animals in 1954, and I've been doing it pretty well ever since.
What is your most memorable moment working in television? Should imagine it'd be this by the time we're finished.
Yes, I was going to say this is a new high, you know, but I don't know. There's a number of terrible things used to happen. You know? I mean, in the early days in television, because it was all live. It wasn't like this highly advanced technology which you've got here, which records the whole thing.
Sandy on the tape, highly.
I mean, if something frightful, if you said something unspeakable, no, you wouldn't say unspeakable, but if you said something awful, naturally you could rub the whole thing out and start again. But in the old days in television, you couldn't do that. So that terrible things happened, and scenery fell down, and people swore, and painters kept coming in and sort of start painting the scenery and say, oh, and shoot off. That was quite good.
Director, there was a wobbly.
Yes.
Right, so have you any amusing incidents while filming or presenting programmes?
Well, playing with animals or shooting, doing programmes with animals is a hazardous thing, even worse than doing it with seamen. But because you can never tell well, you can't tell what seamen are going to do, but you certainly couldn't tell what animals were going to do. And you used to have to do rehearsals. And it was much worse to be bitten by an animal on rehearsal than it was on transmission. Because if you were bitten by the animal on transmission, everybody you got their sympathy and people hooked up. But if he bit you on rehearsal, I remember a program once with a baby otter. And this is a baby female otter, which I'd had as a pet. It was a West African otter, and we'd had it for a long time, and I thought I knew it quite well. And the idea was that we were going to show how otters swam, and we had in the studio a big tank, and I had this little baby otter, and I popped her into the tank, and she wouldn't, or tried to get her in, she wouldn't go in. I said, come on, go in, this isn't doing rehearsal, you see. And she wouldn't, so I tried for the third time. She turned around and she sank her 2 teeth right into the ball of my thumb there, which is very painful, very, very painful, you see. Then you had about an hour's time, you knew that you were going to have to do the transmission. So all the time you were working up there, you think, oh God, he's going to bite me on, what am I going to do? And then when the program comes, you're very nervous. Well, fortunately I knew this baby otter. I knew how to fix this baby otter. So what you had to do, I don't know if I want to tell this story really.
Oh, carry on.
But what you actually had to do was to hold, men of the world, hold the female baby otter here with the table there, and you put her hand underneath the table and tickled her.
Good heavens, yes.
And she got this sort of blissful expression on her face, and she didn't bite me.
Okay. Fine. Phil, lock this man out. Okay, yes. When you were an administrator of BBC Two, was it?
Yeah.
In fact, before, yes.
Yeah.
That gorilla in the jungle has been bugging me since you come on board.
Yeah.
What exactly happened? Because I remember when it charged at you and sort of patted on the back, you said, well, I think it's being rather playful. Didn't seem very playful to me. I mean,
Oh, it was totally painful.
was it a silverback? Silverback, was it?
Well, the big male was a silverback. I should explain that those gorillas were accustomed to seeing Europeans. I mean, all gorillas are like that. And the only reason that we were able to get within a mile was because of the work that was done by a very remarkable woman, who was an American woman called Diane Fossey, who had accustomed the gorillas to this sort of thing. And if Diane introduced you to the gorillas, see.
Well, that said, hello, Mr. Silverback. This is David Attenborough.
I kid thee not. That is more or less it. That if you actually turned up with Diane Fossey, and they sort of said, okay, well, it must be okay. And she came once, and thereafter, we went up day after day. Dickie Bird, who was on board, was with me. I remember the very first time we crept up to a big female, the first time we ever had any contact with them, because they saw us and we saw them, and it was very important that they should see us, because if they didn't see us, and we had been clever enough, which we certainly weren't, to say get quite close to them, and then we had trodden on a twig, the big silverback, if he didn't know we were there, would think that was danger, and he would charge, and he would just drive you into the ground like a tent peg.
I bet he was. He was a big lad, he was.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, so they have to know that you're there, so she knew we were there, and we knew she was there, and so on. And I crawled towards her and sat alongside her so that she would get accustomed to me. This wasn't on the film; you didn't see it.
No, right.
And then after about 10 minutes, she suddenly did this, which was incredibly brave of her to do. I mean, she just touched me like that. The Ned Kelly at the time, it wasn't Ned, but it was a chap who was doing what Ned was doing, which is the producer. He tells the story. He says, I turned round, he said, to talk to the cameraman, the equivalent of you, and to tell him to cue, and he spoke to Dickie and said, and he turned round to tell me to say something to the camera. And as he tells the story, he said, I turned round and I saw that this female gorilla had got David with his head, with one hand under there and the other hand on there. And he says, I thought, Christ, he said, he's going to take David's head off and we haven't finished the programme yet. That's his version.
So yeah, well, that's always fascinated me, that that one about the gorilla, because I remember watching. I was sat there with the old cup of tea in the house there, and my mum said, "Oh, Graham, come and look at this man with the gorilla." And I went, "Oh, look, John." I said, and he was like tall, sorry, like sort of tall grass, and this thing was lagging towards you.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
they're very big.
They must have been about over 6-7 foot tall.
Well, they're very heavy. They're much heavier than we are. And of course, they don't stand upright in the way that we do.
When you was an administrator at BBC Two, which programmes did you actually control?
Well, I joined BBC Two as World About Us, Horizon, Rugby League.
Warrington.
Floodlit Rugby League was a BBC Two invention in this time, all that stuff.
Okay, that's it. That's the old end of part one.
End of part one?
That's right, yeah, I was going to put on that.